He was a figure carved from iron, groomed from pedigree, and raised swiftly through the ranks. Discipline had shaped him since youth, and in the balance between hunger and restraint, his strength was forged. A general whose presence bent men to his command, whose composure stirred legions into thunder. His name alone was enough to silence a hall. One night in the hush of his tent, a spirit appeared. She was clothed in beauty and promise, a shadow wrapped in light. The air around her seemed to shift, as if the world itself bowed to the polarity between them. He felt it, masculine and feminine colliding, a current of destiny surging through his veins. Her voice slipped into him like silk.
I am softness. You are steel. Enter me and know yourself as man.
The words wrapped him in mystery, and before dawn he reached for her, certain her touch would make him whole. And for a time it seemed true. He entered battle with a reckless blaze, his men roaring with him as though their blood had caught his fire. For a moment he was convinced he had found the source of a deeper strength. But the days that followed told another story. On the training field, his arm grew sluggish, his sword knocked aside by a mere recruit. In council, his thoughts wandered, once clear as iron but now muddied. A younger officer dared to correct him, and the echo of this gnawed long after the room had emptied. Night after night he returned to her, seeking reassurance of the manhood he feared was slipping away. But the more he gave, the more was taken. At last, in the heat of battle, her voice coiled through him again. His focus splintered, his men faltered, and the banners fell. Dishonored, unable to bear the eyes of his people, he cast aside his command and wandered into exile. A shadow of the man who once stood unshaken, now lost among the ruins he had sworn to defend. The wind carried the taste of dust. The night stretched without warmth, and the silence pressed like a weight upon his chest. From old whispers among campfires, he recalled the tale of a forgotten altar beyond the frontier. They said broken men knelt upon its stone and rose remade, their fire restored, their spirit made whole. The memory became his compass, and though his body staggered, his mind clung to that promise. On a desolate pass, he crossed a hermit, skin leathered by years, eyes unmoved by illusion. His words came like carved stone.
The altar gives nothing but emptiness. What you seek cannot be bought with sacrifice, only with endurance.
The warning struck him like a cold wind, but pride dulled its edge. Endurance, he thought, was nothing but the toughness of the flesh. And who was this ragged wanderer to measure his strength? So he pressed onward, his hunger disguised as faith. The days became punishment. Heat scorched his brow. Night frost bit to the bone. Hunger clawed, thirst scraped. And each step dragged his soul deeper into shadow. Then came the void, not merely silence, but a silence that devoured meaning. No joy, only a hollow vastness, as though he had wandered into the underworld itself. It was there, she returned. The spirit's voice no longer floated like temptation. It throbbed within his skull, almost indistinguishable from thought itself.
Yield. Give yourself, and the weight you carry will dissolve. In me, you will feel your power proven, your doubts silenced. Let go, and you will know yourself as man once more. This will be the last time you will ever need me, for after tonight, you will rise stronger than you have ever been.
The words coiled around him, gnawing, seductive, almost righteous. His hand lifted, trembling toward nothing, and for an instant he nearly gave in. But some ember within him, faint, stubborn, refused. He dragged himself forward through the wasteland. For men walking this path, discipline is not easy. It needs structure, reminders, a brotherhood around you. That's why I built Transmute, a place to track your progress. Learn from the wisdom of great men, join a community, and discover the philosophy that turns retention into power. If you're truly ready to evolve as a man, Transmute is your greatest offering. The link is in the description. The altar stood barren, its stones cold and lifeless. He fell to his knees, pressing his palms against them, begging for the surge of power he had squandered. Nothing, only silence. The hermit's words returned.
The altar gives nothing but emptiness.
The truth struck like iron. He had walked to the ends of the earth for nothing. Rage and despair tore through him. He cursed the altar, the gods, the spirit, himself. His head sank against the stone. Yet in that emptiness something flickered, not from the altar, but from within. He remembered the night before, when he turned from the spirit's whisper. That refusal was not weakness, it was strength. The spirit had been no muse, but a thief, offering escape from the burden of this fire. Now he understood. To contain it was power itself. Bound to what mattered, it would harden into resolve, sharpen his edge, and carry forward his legacy. And as he committed to hold it, proof surged through him. His veins thrummed with heat. His breath deepened until it filled his chest. His eyes cleared, sharp, steady, alive. His body felt newly made, charged with a quiet electricity. His mind, once cluttered with doubt, grew razor still, every thought aligned to his will. It was a fullness unlike any he had known, a power that made him stand taller, move slower, yet with unshakable certainty. Each craving surged like fire through his veins. Instead of fleeing, he held it, feeling the heat strengthen his frame. With each trial, the certainty grew deeper. He was remade, and the fire would never again be squandered. At last she appeared again, radiant, divine, overwhelming. Drawn by the vigor that pulsed through him, she came to claim it. Once he would have bowed. Now he did not move. He simply endured, still as stone. And in that stillness, she withered. Across the wastelands, rumor spread in fragments. A lone figure moving with unshakable calm, as though silence itself had found a bearer. His men, scattered and broken since his fall, whispered of his return. Some expected shame in his eyes or madness in his step. Instead, they found a calm that unsettled them more than fury ever had. When he entered the camp, no command left his lips. Yet the soldiers straightened as though a cord had pulled them upright. The younger officers who once corrected him faltered under his gaze, unable to meet eyes that burned with quiet certainty. What they felt was not merely authority, but the weight of a man who had mastered himself. The hunger that had once hollowed him now lived in his stride, in the timbre of his voice, in the stillness that made others restless. He did not need to prove his strength. It radiated from him, silent, absolute. The certainty of his being was unshakable, as though he had stepped beyond doubt itself. In the nights that followed, no spirit came to him, for she knew her hold was broken. The fire she once fed upon had been claimed. He had become a man reborn. His hunger no longer hollowed him. It lived within him, contained, harnessed. Now he carried it as a crown. Those around him felt it, though they could not name it. They saw a man who held life itself within him. And from that day forward, he chose to guard it. Are you ready to evolve?